excited to be on stage here, right? So, and the feedback in general, I was also in AutoCon 0, by the way, and all in all, I think probably many people didn't know Nokia a lot in these conferences, and I believe the fact that we open source Container Lab and that we open source our images so that everybody can freely consume them has been seen as a very positive move from us, right? So the question is, do you want to get more of these or not, right? What do you think? Should we do more of this or not? All right. I'll go a little bit to a journey, right? So network automation is one of our strategic pillars, right, as a vendor, right? Because we want to make our systems consumable, but actually we want you to succeed in your journey, right? So in other words, if we try to hinder you, we basically do something wrong, right? And my boss, who is actually over there, right, he asked me a couple of years ago, he said, okay, what should we do in network automation, right? Because we actually did it from the beginning, right? So people who know us from 5620 SAM and NSP, so we actually had network automation from the start, and some people where we were talking to, we came up with a UI on top of an IP network, and they said, okay, I don't want that, I want CLI, right? And so in the meantime, time moved on, and I came up with these 4 pillars that I believed we should actually focus upon, right? So the first one is make it consumable, right? I'm a practical guy, right? I want to play with stuff, and if I know it works, I will say, okay, it's good, right? And so what I'm talking about consumability, it's about getting access to everybody on your laptop, so from being small to potentially very big customers that we have, right? So it should scale in and scale out to all different flavors of implementations, right? But also easy to access and easy to extend and easy to maintain, right? Because it's nice to build it one time, but you have to keep it going, right? And then the second thing was basically predictability, because it's nice to get it to work, right? Or to get it implemented or configured, but actually does it really work, right? Because the question is always, it's nice to automate something, and does it continue to work? Because it's not a one-shot thing, it's a continuous thing, right? And then, of course, and I think you see many people have talked about it, is the collaboration side of things, is that you actually should have an audit trail, or you have to have version control, and should be able to do that automation in a collaborative way. And then, of course, the fourth one is today you cannot talk anything about without talking about AI. So the assisted play is another one. So I see AI as an assistant, right? So it's a buddy that we use, and that buddy makes us more efficient going along, right? That's how I see AI. Now, I'm a personal guy, I'm a practical guy, so it's nice to be a theory. I actually built this stuff myself, right? And during that journey, actually Marcus is sitting over there, he's one of the guys in my team. Actually, I built it myself, and the first attempt, it worked, but I asked him, okay, how does it look like? Give me an example, because he is actually more of a software development type. If you look at my history, I'm a network designer. And he said, if I'm honest, because I'm his boss, he said, it's ugly. So in other words, I think what I've learned through that journey is that making this thing work, whether you are consuming it or doing it yourself, right? Or basically customizing a vendor implementation, or we as a vendor giving it to you, we have to do this in a way that we can maintain it and that the life cycle of it is easy, right? That's for me one of the big lessons learned that I did in my journey, right? And actually, this is going to be an interesting. I ended up leveraging Kubernetes as the platform to do network automation, right? And why did I end up there? Is I said, if I want to achieve those requirements, building all of that myself why should I do that, right? And what I saw during the journey, so I was lucky that I have been able to figure out and play with many different things, because I also started with Ansible and Python and Terraform and all that stuff, right? If you see all the industries using, and not all, most of the industries leveraging Kubernetes as a platform for automation, then I said, why can networking not do the same? That was basically my direction that I was going. So, and the first thing, it's also a fun story, is I listened to a podcast while I was running, so I'm actually a running type of guy, and I learned a podcast about operators. And they said, okay, that's the new thing, that was a hot thing in 5-6 years ago. And the first attempt that I did is, okay, can I use an operator pattern in Kubernetes? So I don't know whether people understand that, but basically it's the reconciliation loop that you have in Kubernetes. Can I actually use that and interact with a physical device, right? Because everybody of you thinks that Kubernetes is only about containers. I'm going to prove you right now that it's actually not. So that's why I try to do a demo, I try to do a live demo, but I decided not to do so, advised by the organizers. So basically, what I built is a network, right? So just a very simple thing, set up with Container Lab. And what I'll show you is basically, so what you see is, I actually recorded it basically 10 minutes ago or 1 hour ago. I didn't know that I was but what you see is that I apply a configuration. So kubectl, this is the CR that I apply to the network. So basically I configure on 2 sides, 2 routers, IP addresses, and this will actually configure EVPN VXLAN. And what you see at the bottom is actually the real implementation on the real device, that it actually works, and it's actually reconciling the whole thing. It does from orchestration to resource allocation to building an abstract device model, making a vendor-specific implementation, all the way down to transacting to the device. So the full stack from orchestration to automation. And so when you listen to all the presentation and stuff like that, I believe this gives us, or Dinesh would call it probably, or classify it in tool 2.0, right? So we are here, and this is basically showing us here. So we decided a new initiative from Nokia, which is actually open source, which is called Kubenet. So I'm very excited to announce that we are launching Kubenet. And the initiative is actually not to give you a product, but actually it's an initiative where we try to learn people who are interested and educate them on the usage of Kubernetes for network automation. So with that, I hope you like that initiative. So if you want to know the details, there is a Discord server where you can join, right? There is a learn.kubenet.dev, which actually gives you a bunch of exercises where people can go through, and so our goal is, and I would love people to join us and help in the organization, because this should not be a pure Nokia initiative, if I'm honest. But the idea is to help people and train them to potentially get to this level of network automation and leverage that across the board. So with that, I would like to thank you, and I'm on time. Thank you.
Fantastic. That was great. All right. And now